What's up guys, it's Will here back again. Today, we're here to review the InArt Wukong Great Sage armor set. This figure was released 6 months after its announcement, which is crazy. But is it a timely masterpiece or a rushed disappointment? Today, we find that out. But before we get started, make sure to like the video, subscribe to this channel, and click the notification bell down below so you're notified when content goes live here. That said, let's take a look at one of the most anticipated video game figures of all time and determine if it's worth the hype. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another review today. It's one of my most anticipated figures of 2025, and that's the InArt Wukong. I just beat the game recently with the bad ending, but I'm still counting it. You can see the outer packaging there. It's pretty cool. And on the inner packaging, you have the magnetic sort of cover as it flips open to the box. You can see the artwork there is awesome. You have a little thank you note from InArt in there, the instruction sheet, and a little Wukong card. I guess commemorative card that shows, okay, you bought a really cool exclusive type figure. But again, looking at this cover art, it gets you into the feel of unboxing this figure, and I love it. It makes me feel that Wukong vibe that they're going for, and I love it. You can see here everything is packaged safely and securely. You got the staff, you got the hands, you got the magnetic headpiece, and of course the Wukong body. Everything up top there is really great. And then when you remove all that, you can see what it actually looks like in the box. I did put the magnetic head on the actual figurehead body, so for that one it's actually not in that spot, but everything else is there. The crown, the hands, the staff, the figure itself. And you can see our first look at the figure. This Wukong figure, I promise you, is going to shock and amaze you. And the packaging is really no different than most InArt figures. It really gets you in the feel of things. Here's the bottom layer with the actual packaging still intact. And you can see there, you got the base, and of course you got the headdress, which is actually underneath that little circular part in there, and some other accessories as well. The tail is in there, and the actual crotch grabber stand that you plug into the middle there is in there as well. And you also have some pieces for the actual display base and some other costume accessories in there as well. Headdress is quite extensive, I promise you. But looking at this thing in hand, our first impressions here, I love this. The second I unboxed it, I said, this thing is absolutely beautiful. The head sculpt reminds me so much of Wukong and the Destined one from playing the game. And the armor itself is just ripe with detail and accuracy and just so much excitement looking at this figure. The head sculpt is very, very strong. It is a sculpted hair head sculpt. It has magnetic hair pieces, one of them currently on the figure that just has them without the headdress, and you could put the headdress on him, which I'll show you in a sec. But looking at the detail in the armor, it's all screen printed from what I'm told, and it feels like one big jacket, one big armor-like jacket that goes over the figure, which does greatly reduce articulation. I think that's a question a lot of people are going to have, but the detail and the accuracy on this thing is remarkable. It feels bulky, it feels heavy in hand, it feels like a figure that does need a crotch grabber display base, because this thing is heavy and intricate and detailed, and it's going to feel like a very high quality product in your hand, which is really what you can hope for. You can see the tail there in the back. It plugs into a little black piece on the back there, and it holds really well. I went ahead and applied the headdress for Wukong here. You plug in the little pieces, the antennas, into the red parts on the actual headdress onto the crown, and it magnetically plops on the head. Super easy, but you do want to be careful. It is a very fragile part, but with the headdress, it's going to add about 4 to 5 inches in height, roughly. So you got to make sure you have that type of display space in your display cases, because you're going to look at a figure that's going to be about 17 inches tall or so at that point, maybe even higher, because the headdress goes up quite high on the figure. But damn, does it look good. Here you can see the display base. This is very reminiscent of Chapter 5 to me. Chapter 5 being a sort of more lava fire type planet. And that's really what you see here. You can see I installed the crotch grabber there in the middle. You can also plug Wukong's staff into the back there as well. You can see it's a little bit wobbly in my case. I think you can plug it in a little bit better than I did in this clip. But nonetheless, it holds very well when you put the base firm on a foundation like a table or a display case. It's going to hold just fine. You can see the staff here is ripe with detail. From my understanding, it is actual wood. When I hold it in hand, it feels like actual wood. The paint applications on the edges of the staff are remarkable. The gold looks very metallic and shiny, even though it's not. It just looks very much like Wukong's staff from the game. And I love how intricate the details are. You can see the actual inscriptions on the staff itself. And of course, on each end, you got the gold paint applications, which really make the staff come together quite nicely. So for me, I love how the staff looks. Here you can see the gourd. The gourd is an accessory that if you played the game, you know it heals you. You can upgrade your gourd at various points throughout the game. This is probably one of the earlier gourds. I can't recall which one this actually is. Maybe the first gourd that you get, but it's one one of those that, you know, does the trick just fine. You can have him holding it in his hand, which you'll see some clips of in this video. Has a string, so if you want to attach it other ways, you can do that as well. There's a magnetic headpiece for the top of the head. If you don't want the headdress, the crown on him, you can plug this one on. The magnet is very strong, so do take it slow, be careful. And when you go to remove it, just make sure you use 2 hands and apply it that way. Same goes with the actual crown headpiece. That one's magnetically attached just as securely as the other one. I promise you it's substantial and very secure. And with these headdress pieces, you want to be very careful when applying those. You can move them around a little bit once installed to get them in the right position, but you do want to be careful not to move them too much. The piece is quite intricate. Here's the crown actually with Wukong is used, what they use to enslave Wukong. This is not meant to go on the figure. I tried, it does not fit. It's an accessory that maybe could go on the display base as a nice little accessory piece, or maybe you have him holding it, for example. It will not go on his head. I tried it. The sculpted hair will not allow it. So promise you, don't waste your time. Here's a little small staff. Again, Wukong's staff can shrink and grow in size and expand whenever you wanted to. So if you wanted him holding it in his right hand, as if he's pulling the staff out for the first time to expand it, you can absolutely do that. Lots of detail in this small little staff. So if you want to pull off that specific pose, that's what this accessory is for. Here's some little tassels. I still have not figured out quite what these are for. There's nothing about them in the instruction sheet. I'm assuming they're for the armor in some way, for spares, but again, to be honest, I'm transparent, I'm not entirely sure. The detail on these hands is crazy. So there's so much detail in the fingernails, the paint applications for the hair on the actual palm of the hand, the upper side of the hand rather. So that one is really, really cool. So again, I wanted to show a little bit more of these hands because the fingernails really impressed me. You do want to be careful when you're putting the staff in his hand or any other accessories not to scratch or, you know, mess up the fingernails anyway with the paint applications, because these are very intricate, and the paint applications on these hands are some of the best that I've seen, honestly. They're very lifelike and they look very true to what Wukong looked like in the game, and of course the Destin one as well. I love the different hands that they include here. There's a lot that you can do with these. And yeah, you can do a lot with them, which I really enjoy. So I went ahead and put Wukong on the rotating turntable here. Just put him in a straight up pose. You can see he's got the headdress on here. So it's very tall. My review space is really not built for something this tall, but nonetheless, I fit him in just barely. So if the framing is a little bit off, that's why. But the intricacy of this figure is incredible. This is one of the most lifelike, presence commanding figures that I've ever seen. I went ahead and put the staff in Wukong's hand for this pose, and I took the headdress off of him, just put the regular head on there with the magnetic hairpiece. This looks incredible. It's so lifelike, it's crazy. This is definitely going to be a shelf queen in your collection for most collectors, but the presence it commands is remarkable. So for me, I'm absolutely thrilled with how this figure looks. There's some more I'm going to talk about in a sec, but for me, you got to make your own decision here. Look at it with your eyes. Let's keep moving. InArt Wukong is truly a remarkable figure. This is one of the coolest, most presence-commanding figures that I've ever had the pleasure of seeing in person. This is for sure the most detailed figure costume that I've seen, because the costume is screen printed and it's placed over the figure body in what feels like one big, insanely detailed jacket. The trade-off with this level of detail, though, is the extremely limited articulation. This figure is going to be a shelf queen for most collectors. There will always be the collectors who want to test the articulation limits of their figures. But with this one, I would caution you to think twice. There's a fabric suit underneath the armor itself, which should reduce the worry of creasing, but the armor itself greatly restricts articulation. To be honest, I'm uncomfortable with moving this figure in any significant way, so I'm making the difficult decision as the reviewer to let each collector test articulation for themselves. As this is my copy of the figure that I paid for, I want it to be whole in my display. My opinion is that this figure will likely not be suited for most dynamic poses. This figure is very fragile. Due to the delicacy of the parts, you want to be very careful changing hands or doing anything with it, really. A mild annoyance is installing the piece under the chin, though. It pegs into the underside of the head sculpt, but it doesn't always want to hold in place, so just go slow and you'll be fine. The tail installs in the back to this little black peg. Be gentle with that too. Just give it a little force and twist it into place. The tail articulates around side to side, but I doubt you'll find yourself moving it too much. There's two swappable magnetic headpieces. The magnets are very strong, so you want to be careful when swapping those. When plugging in the antennas, you want to be extremely gentle as the headdress is fragile. Go slow, don't force things, and you'll be fine. Otherwise, you will definitely break something. Can't show you on camera because once they're in there, I don't want to pull them out again. Still, you should determine your display space prior to installing those antennas. If the antennas won't fit in your display space, don't install them. The accessories are not that extensive, but what more would we actually need here? Maybe some swooshing effects would have been nice, but since Wukong doesn't articulate all that well anyway, they might just go to waste. Still, the presence of this figure is incredible. Standing there in a simple pose, it just works. It looks like it jumped straight out of the game. And while he's not going to articulate like Darth Maul, there's enough range of motion to make him look cool as shit on your shelf. InArt delivered another banger, albeit a stiff, fragile one, but a beautiful banger nonetheless. If you love the game or simply want one of the coolest looking figures ever made, this is it. For that reason, it gets a 9.5 out of 10 from me. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, click the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you're notified when content goes live here. I'll see you in the next video.